Dr. Phil.
13 years after the wedding.
They have not consummated their marriage.
I thought you were okay with it.
I've never been okay with it.
I've told you right now.
Oh, my God.
The counselor told me, well, maybe you're asexual.
I said that you may be asexual.
No, he did too.
That's not true.
She sent you a lot of text messages when she gets angry.
Oh, yeah.
And you're first to admit you got a mouth on you.
Yes, I do, sir.
You said you're a pathological liar, you're a fraud, you stupid fat pig.
The more hurtful the words are, the better I feel.
I'm not sure this is really a relationship. If you can't be together and not violate each other, you've got to shut it down. Let's do it.
Good show, everybody. Here we go.
This is a safe place to talk about hard things.
Stand by. We'll count you down.
Today is going to be a changing day in your life.
5, 4.
Get ready to take care of you. Well, Peggy says after her second marriage, she wanted to get back into the dating scene again, but this time she was clear about what type of partner she wanted. Someone who was kind, stable, and wouldn't use her for a one-night stand. When Peggy met Steve online, she thought he checked off all the boxes. Good job, sense of humor, and a real gentleman. 6 months later, Peggy moved across the country to be with Steve. After relocating to Steve's hometown and dating for about 3 years, Steve proposed, and Peggy was convinced she had finally gotten it right. But 13 years after the wedding, Peggy says Steve still refuses to consummate their marriage. That's right. You heard right. Peggy and Steve have not had sex since they said I do. Apparently, he heard I don't. Peggy wrote me 4 times about this issue. Here's what she's had to say.
When I met Steve, he seemed like a man of integrity. We did a lot of really wonderful, fun stuff.
We've had good times in our relationship. Riding a motorcycle, hiking.
That was our favorite.
Travel.
Our sex life was not anything out of this world, but it was good. Prior to getting married, we had sex a total of 6 times. I loved him and I wanted to be in his life, so we got married. But he's never consummated our marriage. After 2 years, he still had not consummated the marriage, and he announced to me that he did not love me and he did not want to love me. I just didn't understand what I could have possibly done. So that was the first time that I asked him to leave our home. I was devastated. It's like, I'm not Miss America, but I ain't a dog either. When I asked you why you married me, if you weren't going to have sex with me, what was your answer?
Because I thought you were okay with it.
I've never been okay with it. Once we got married, we haven't had sex not once. He looked at me and said, I don't know why I don't desire you. He didn't say women. He said you. I say to him, why do you want to stay married to me? It has stripped me of my value, my confidence. I've been married, but I have not lived a married life.
Well, Peggy says after getting married to Steve, she began to suspect that their sexless marriage wasn't their only issue.
Not only do we not have a sex life, Steve is a pathological liar and a fraud. He lies about things he doesn't have to lie about. Big things, little things, stupid things. If he says it's raining outside, I have to check. I know the truth.
I know the truth,
I'm not making this up.
And I'm not making anything
know
up.
You're lying.
I've told you when I've lied.
You never told me when
Yes,
you lied.
I did. I've told you right now.
Oh, my God. I'm not happy with my life. Steve has lied to me from day one, and he has continued lying. What happened with the car when you crashed my car?
I didn't crash it. I scraped the bumper.
You didn't scrape it, you crashed it.
No, I didn't.
It wasn't a scrape.
Yes, it was.
Did you not lie about that?
Yes, I did.
Okay, another lie. fraud. He changed the numbers on our tax form, and then he asked me to sign my name to it. I've caught him messaging women online. In place of a sex life with his wife, Steve prefers to look at porn on his phone. Out of my frustration and rage, I have put my hands on Steve, slapped him, or punched him. I can write pages
Then do it.
of the stupid lies you've told
Then
me.
do it, because they're not
I
all
will.
lies.
They are
Yes,
lies.
no, they're not.
You know what? I'm not doing this with you.
Well, you don't seem to have any trouble expressing yourself.
No, not at all.
You seem to speak right up.
Yes, I do.
So I would think that that you would have brought this to a head before now, that you would have had a confrontation that would have cleared this up, good, bad, or indifferent.
There was a lot of periods where we weren't physically together. So I guess there were opportunities for him to not address what the serious issues we had. And then I just kind of settled for the situation. We would discuss things and had big arguments, and ultimately they would end up with me asking him to leave the house and not resolving anything.
Right. But he's been deployed a lot.
Yes.
And so that would be periods of time you wouldn't be together, but then he would come home. You've been together. You've not been deployed, where you've both been in the same town.
Yes.
If not under the same roof for years at a time.
Correct.
My question is, why have you been willing to settle for this? Because you clearly don't have to.
No, I don't.
I mean, you're young and energetic, and I mean, you can.
Because of the different periods that he was away, every time we had an issue, then he would leave. So then I would just kind of wait until he came back to, he promised to get help. He promised to stop lying. You know, he made empty promises, and I wanted to believe him.
Did you miss some red flags here? I mean, early
I missed
on.
them. I ignored them all because I saw signs even before I moved to New Mexico to be with him. You know, within 2 weeks of meeting him online, he had lied to me. I mean, I didn't find out what his first lie was until I moved to New Mexico, but it was continuous.
And so you said, sign me up.
I wanted to still believe that we could find a way to come together. Well, you know, sorry.
No pun intended, right?
Yes, well, you know, reunite.
Yeah, gotcha. Okay, now you said you went to a doctor. You guys went to a doctor.
He went to the doctor several times.
Okay, but one doctor gave him like a manual. And he took notes. Steve took notes. It looked like, okay.
Double-sided 2 or 3 pages.
Both sides?
An hour.
3 to 4 pages? I don't know what you go over. I wouldn't have 3 or 4 pages to tell somebody.
Well, because when someone gets deployed, there's detachment. So he was helping him with the detachment, you know, and thinking that, you know, and I can understand, you know, when a person gets deployed, you really have to change your mind and physically. And so he was helping him reconnect and different things he could have done to.
So what did he do with all of these step by step?
Open up a drawer, put it in there, and
never got it back out.
Again.
So he didn't do one thing?
Not one thing.
You said this really stripped you of your self-esteem, self-worth, damaged your self-image. You know this is not specific to you because it's apparently happened in relationships throughout his life.
Correct.
So you know this is not about you. Now you can say, well, I hoped I would inspire him to overcome this, but you know this is not about you. It's about him.
Deep down inside, I know it's not about me, but it's hard. You know, when you keep trying and you keep being rejected, how you don't think it's not about you.
Yeah, and that hurt, and I understand that that hurts, but I do want to get straight, at least rationally in your mind, that you know that this didn't start with you.
I do know that.
You didn't invent this problem. It's not situation specific. Can we at least get that part down?
Yes.
Because I hate for you to really have an internal dialogue that says, I'm not enough, I'm not attractive, I'm not appealing, I'm not this, I'm not that, when we know that he brought this to the relationship with him.
When we have arguments about it, he'll say, because you did this, because you did this, because you're this way.
Right.
Because, and then it's hard not to, when you hear it.
Well, that's why I'm telling you now that the facts are different than what, I mean, he may say that in anger or in an argument, but we know historically the facts are different than
Yes.
that. So hear me say that. We'll talk about more in a minute.
Okay.
Now, Peggy's husband, Steve, is here. And I'm not trying to belittle him in any way. I'm not saying, I mean, people have different appetites. They have different preferences. And I'm just describing that this is not specific to her. I'm not even saying that it's wrong for him. It's just individual differences, but it certainly is not, she's not the stimulus or lack of stimulus about this. And he says that Peggy is bitter, resentful, and angry, and that he's not the monster she's portraying him to be. So we're going to hear from him next.
She'll call me fat, ugly, smelly, scumbag. When Peggy and I get into an argument, it'll start off, you're lying. No, I'm not lying. I am honest. Just because you don't believe me doesn't mean I'm not honest.
You're a liar.
Tomorrow.
What all that time on social media is doing to our teenagers.
Botox, eye transformations, how is social media affecting our beauty standards?
When you enhance the way you look, not only are you lying to others, you're lying to yourself.
All four of us are sitting here making money off of people's insecurities.
Let me give a piece of advice to everybody out there: under promise and over deliver.
That's tomorrow. Then on Friday, did his wife hire a hitman?
You try to have him murdered?
No.
You seriously think this woman tried to have you killed? She can't order lunch, let alone a hitman.
That's Friday.
I blame Steve for my rage and anger. When you've lived years without having another human being touch you, you develop this anger. It will drive you crazy. So my way of purging this pain has been by verbally abusing my husband. I've said some really horrible things, and it makes me feel good. And one of the reasons he's not living at home is because I have been provoked where I have hit him. And I'm embarrassed by it, and I'm ashamed by it. I don't want to be that way anymore.
Peggy says her marriage to Steve lacks communication, affection, and sex because they've never consummated their union since they said I do over 13 years ago. Now, Steve says while he's responsible for some of their marriage issues, Peggy pushed him away by hitting and slapping him and being very controlling and very hostile.
I loved Peggy very much, but the military and my work were my passions, and my personal relationships were always in the back seat. I believe all of our issues stem from lack of sex and lack of romance. I am cold-hearted, I'm analytical, I have no desire for sex. I'm ashamed of it. We didn't have sex on our wedding night. We never consummated the marriage. Peggy's anger problems are the main issue. Her anger progresses to rage and progresses to physical and emotional abuse. She's hit me, knocked my glasses off while we're driving on the highway. Another time, she hit me and drew blood. This just makes me not want to have sex with her even more. When Peggy and I get into an argument, it'll start off, you're lying. No, I'm not lying. I am honest. Just because you don't believe me doesn't mean I'm not honest.
Steve, you're a liar.
She'll say, stupid. She'll call me fat, ugly, smelly, scumbag.
I know the truth.
I know the truth,
I'm not
too.
making this up.
And I'm not making
And you
anything
know
up.
you're lying.
I had the door closed. She didn't like that, and she actually beat the door with a hammer. I was sitting at the computer, and we got in an argument. She got so enraged that she took the computer and threw it on the floor. I put up with it because I do feel responsible. Peggy did move out here. She uprooted everything, and that's why I want to improve on our marriage. I want to make things better. Regardless of the outcome, whether we're married or not, I do want Peggy to be happy.
Well, Steve, it's good to meet you.
You too, sir.
You've been married over 13 years, but since you got married, y'all have not had sex since the marriage, correct?
Correct.
You recognize that that statistically is a real anomaly,
Yes, sir.
right? When you married her, did you plan for that to be the case?
No,
Because you said, I thought you were okay with it.
I did make that comment, but I didn't really think she would be okay with it.
But you did say that,
No, I
which
did.
was a lie.
I did say that.
Yeah.
Another lie. Because I have never, ever, ever been okay with it, and I still am not okay with it from day one to today.
Yes.
So for you to say, I thought you were okay with it, it's
Okay,
a lie.
but the truth is you didn't think she was okay with it.
No.
So what did you think would happen?
I thought we would either work on our problems. I would work on my problem. I would.
Well, first, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but you bring up a key, apparently I'm not, since I am interrupting you. Is it a problem for you, or are you totally okay with it?
No.
Because it's not necessarily a problem if you're okay with it.
I mean, if I was by myself, I'd be fine with it. But since we're married, I would like to have sex.
But you have been okay with it. It's something that hasn't caused you anguish or stress or frustration. It's like you said, I thought you were okay with it. So
And
that
I've
tells
seen-
me you're okay with it.
I've seen numerous counselors, and finally a counselor told me, well, maybe you're asexual and you just don't like sex.
That's not
And then I
true.
said, okay, that's...
Steve, excuse me, that's not true. I said that you may be asexual.
No, he did too.
That's not true.
When I read all of that, I thought, I've seen and heard it all, and then I opened my book and say, no, I haven't.
The more hurtful the words are, the better I feel.
22, I want you to go into it saying, I've kind of been a passenger in my life. We're not going to be that way anymore.
New year, new you.
I want you to be you on purpose.
Your resolution to star in your life.
I want it to stick, and that means lifestyle change. Be a star. Take pride in what you do. You say that she's always criticizing and putting you down, and so that makes it hard for you to feel
Correct.
safe in being close to her, intimate with her, vulnerable to
Yeah,
her.
it's a vicious cycle. I mean, I'm the way that I am because of her. She's the way she is because of me.
But that's
we
not
get into
true.
arguments.
You don't want to have sex with me because of the way you are.
Right.
Okay, now,
But-
she sent you a lot of text messages when she gets angry.
Oh, yeah.
And I have to, and you're first to admit you got a mouth on you.
Yes, I do, sir.
And apparently you got some fingers on you too for texting or thumbs.
And I'm not proud of it. And I do want to learn to do things differently.
Yeah.
I am aware, I'm accepting, I am acknowledging the fact that my only tool to hurt him like he hurts me is with my mouth.
Well, you've said you're a pathological liar, you're a fraud, you're a cold-hearted monster. Trust me, I will rid myself of you. Sleep well, and you put a gay slur in there. And you, the biggest scumbag I have ever encountered, you stupid gay slur. You fat bleep. I can't even put one letter in there, or the FCC would have a heart attack. I don't love you, and I'm not ever going to love you. I hate you full-heartedly. My stupid, ugly, smelly, gay slur husband. What a waste of man you are. thank you, you stupid fat pig. Hey, you stupid blank. Don't answer the phone, gay slur. I mean, it just goes on. When I read all of that, I thought, it was one of those days where I thought, okay, I've seen and heard it all, and then I open my book and say, no, I haven't. But my second thought was, you must be in a lot of pain.
Yes, sir, I am.
A lot of pain. Because that's not something that somebody would say, think, write, feel. That's not in a lot of pain.
I have no way of getting that pain out. And I have learned that when I speak poorly to him, I'm purging the pain. And the more colorful the words are, the more hurtful the words are, the better I feel. I can only relate it to people who are cutters. You know, they have all this pain inside them and they need a relief, because if not, they're going to explode. I am completely ashamed. One of the reasons I almost didn't come here was the fact that I had to acknowledge how absolutely disgusting my mouth is. But I realized also it's coming from a place of pain.
Well, but I see that. So you realize I get that, right?
Yes, sir.
I get it. Now, Peggy admits she can get really angry, and I say behind anger is always hurt, fear, or frustration. And she says that it stems from being triggered by Steve's constant lies. And we're going to hear about one of his alleged lies that caused Peggy to be arrested next. Closed captioning provided by
Liz, you nerd, cough if you're in here.
Steve had told me that he was living with a married couple. I then found out that he was living with a woman from work and lied to me.
I did lie, but there was nothing going on.
He was living with another woman.
It was a colleague from work.
No, we were on our way to a restaurant and I was very mad and we were arguing.
I decided to get out of the car and walk 5 miles to the house.
I started to follow him with my car, yelling out the window like a lunatic to come back, I'm sorry.
Peggy follows me to a parking lot, and I slam my fist on the hood of the car, tell her, leave me alone, and a good Samaritan was filming this. He thought she hit me and forwarded that video to the police, and she was arrested.
I ended up spending the night in jail for something I did not do.
As far back as 2007, 2008, you guys have been in combat, sometimes weekly.
Sometimes daily.
And I'm not sure this is really a relationship here. You guys aggress against each other physically, right? I mean, how does this happen? How does it go?
When we've had arguments and, you know, I'm trying to point out that he's lied and he's denying it. Yeah, I've punched him or slapped him and, you know, out of frustration. I mean, it's not right, but you're right. We don't have the ingredients to constitute a relationship.
Well, she says that you cause her to get unhinged. Do you? Do you push her buttons on purpose?
I try not to, but I know everything leads back to something else.
Do you get aggressive with her?
I raise my voice. I do cuss. I mean, I'm ex-military, I'm Army, so I've been there, done that. I thought I hit her, but she tells me I didn't. So we've got a better memory.
When I have been aggressive with him, you know, he'll try to push me off. He has not punched me.
It's unraveling and getting physical.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I want to know. And how often do you two argue when you're together?
Well, often. Probably.
Is it every day?
Recently, since we don't live together, recently, when he does come around.
They can't even match the music. They can't even rap with us back producing.
week without arguing because I keep track. And so then I say it's only a matter of time. But I said, well, last time it was 3 days we didn't argue. This time it's 5 days. This time it's 7. I said, so
we're not when you're around or us arguing on the phone.
Period. Just
because you're not
everything.
around.
Yeah, everything.
I mean, how often do you come see me?
Whenever.
I'm treated like an elderly relative. They'll come over on a Saturday to take me to the supermarket and go get a bite to eat, come to the house and do some, chores, and then leave.
She doesn't want me there. She tells me, I will tell you when you
Were you
can come
afraid
over.
he was going to lie to us? Because he's lied.
Absolutely.
I'm not lying. Oh.
You see,
You
I've
say he
asked
lies.
him.
Were you afraid he was going to lie to us?
Absolutely.
Because you debriefed him pretty hard.
Well, yesterday in our final the day before our final interview, he was stating things that were not true. And I've told him quite clearly that you're not going to put up with lies. I mean, it's something that you're very adamant about and something I'm very adamant about. And I've had to live with it my whole life.
What did he lie to us about?
Well, when he's saying that he's not a liar, when he's saying he didn't do certain things,
I try to tell her, just because she doesn't believe it doesn't make it a lie. Like, okay, I don't answer my phone because I'm in a meeting, or I don't retext her because I'm in an interview. And then she'll say, you're lying. I know you're lying to me. And she said, I'm going to hire a private detective to see where you're going. It's like, fine, you're going to waste your money.
You're like Mr. President.
No,
you're the hardest person to get a hold of.
Do y'all love each other?
I love her.
And what does that mean? No, really.
Well,
what does that mean? How do you define that?
I mean, I didn't get married to get divorced. I love her. I want her to be happy.
Now answer my question. What do you mean when you say you love her?
I love her. I want to take care of her. I respect her. I want us to be happy together. I want us to survive.
So when you came back after 2 years of deployment...
Hold on. Let me... it's not my first day.
And your name is on the...
Do you feel affection towards her?
I have, yes.
Do you now?
Right this minute?
Yeah.
No, not right this minute.
Do you feel warmth towards her?
Yes.
You feel kindness towards her?
I try to, yeah.
Do you miss her when she's not around?
Yes.
Do you love him?
I have love for him. We've been together for 16 years, but the love I feel for him is just out of like familiarity, family love. I don't feel woman love towards him.
Yeah.
How could I? He is not being a man for me.
Peggy and Steve not only lack intimacy, but they also have quite a bit of this abuse in their marriage. We'll talk about that next.
Tomorrow on an all-new Dr. Phil.
Botox, eye transformations. How is social media affecting our beauty standards?
All 4 of us are sitting here making money off of people's insecurities.
That's tomorrow.
Closed captioning provided by...
Steve and I are nervous about losing each other.
I think she thinks I'm just the guy who takes care of the cats, as she calls it, the do boy. Do this, do that, get the groceries, take care of things that she won't or can't do.
What I love the most about my husband, Steve, is that he's a very good father to my kitties.
I don't think that Peggy understands how hard I work for her. I pay for the house, all the bills.
I'm going to be 61 in a few months, and I'm alone. The thought of dating is horrifying. Who's going to want me?
I've asked Robin to join us. She's my wife, obviously. You all know that. We've been married for 45 years. We've been together They've been together almost 50, right?
Almost.
Almost. She's also the founder of When Georgia Smiled, the organization that she built to bring awareness to domestic violence. And she created the Aspire Initiative to help educate others about domestic violence. And there's also the Aspire app, which allows victims to call for help with the touch of a button. And the Aspire Initiative is available in Spanish and English. It's free, and it's there for young ages, high school ages, adults. It's all sorts of things. You can find it at whengeorgiasmiled.org. But you support women's shelters all over the country and speak about this all over the country. But if you've got domestic violence, whether it's the woman that's doing the abusing or the man that's doing the abusing, or it's just combat, the problem is this can escalate in a fast hurry and be very dangerous, even by accident. True?
Very true. Very true. When you have violence, domestic violence, as you listed, verbal, emotional, mental, and physical in a relationship, it is definitely a deal breaker.
You know, there's got to be some, if you guys do, and I don't know that you do, but if you want to try and preserve this marriage, you know, Robin said it's a deal breaker. You've got to decide that you're going to hold yourself to a standard, and that's got to be off the table. If you can't be together and not violate each other's dignity, if you can't be in the same room without saying vile things to one another, without hitting one another, without emotionally abusing each other, then when I say it's a deal breaker, it means you've got to shut it down.
That's right. Because you have already admitted that for you to vent against Steve because he's hurt you, you do it verbally, and now you've admitted that you reach out and you are hitting him.
It has been a long time, and you have to agree with that. That hasn't been a part of our life as of recent, but yes, it has happened.
But you do it, and you even do it when he's driving the car.
It happened once.
It only takes one time.
I agree totally.
It only takes one time, and you say it makes you feel better. It makes you feel better to
Not
do
the
it.
hitting,
But
okay.
it is present in your relationship, and it only takes one time, and especially if you're doing it when he's driving the car. But you can do it when you're sitting at home.
You look so international. Girl, what's your name? I have to know. Ain't no one else in your lane. Let's fill this car with gas and go. No hesitation, I'm on it. If that's the way that you want it, that's cool with me, so let's ride. Let's go somewhere that you lie.
And you never know when it's going to get to a point when you need it to escalate, to feel better, and you could kill him.
That's why I leave. That's why I walk out a lot, because I don't want it escalating.
Yeah, and we say this not just for you, but for all of you listening and at home. You've got to have, this gets to be a new normal where it just becomes part of your relationship. And that can't be. You have to draw a line and say, we don't go there. And it can be physical abuse. It can be emotional or verbal abuse. It can be it can be any of these things. It can be financial abuse, controlling the money, controlling time. The number one tool of the abuser is
isolation.
Cutting off all of their friends, family, church, anything. So you can't let that be part of your lives. And you two are abusing each other. And look, sex begins with intimacy, and intimacy begins with trust. And there's no trust here. You don't have the trust in this relationship to have any kind of intimacy.
No, we don't.
And you never have.
No, we never have.
Now, Peggy wrote to me 4 times beginning in 2015 asking me for marriage advice. And I'm going to be very specific in giving her some when we come back. And I'm going to ask you to do the same.
We've all been there. All of a sudden,
without you.
If you're going to be in the Los Angeles area and would like to watch a live taping here in the studio, go to drphil.com and click on Be Part of the Audience and select In Studio.
I want to give you the definition of a relationship that I think is critically important, and that is the quality of a relationship is a function of the extent to which it's built on a solid underlying friendship first. So I'm talking about a romantic relationship now. A relationship has to be built on a solid underlying friendship. That's first. You've got to be really good friends. And what do good friends do? Good friends talk, they share things about themselves. You know, they tell stories, they talk about common interests, things of that nature. So it has to be built on a solid underlying friendship. And then it meets the needs of the 2 people involved. So if you have certain needs, the quality of that relationship for you is going to be a function of how well he meets those needs.
Correct.
And if you have certain needs, the quality that you're going to experience is going to be a function of how well she meets your needs. Mm-hmm. So if your needs are being met, you might rate it an 8 out of 10. And if yours aren't, you could be in the same relationship and rate it a 2. So you've got to mutually be working to meet the other person's needs. And y'all don't have...
Grab another bottle of that bubbly, top shelf living. We don't owe you an apology. Grab another bottle of that bubbly, top shelf living. We don't owe you an apology.
A friendship.
I feel he doesn't even like me.
Well, I asked you both if you loved each other, and you couldn't even answer the question. You don't even know what that means. And it really takes a friendship, don't you think?
Yes, it does. Yes.
You
have to have fun together. You have to laugh together. You have to have this feeling of knowing that you're going to always have someone in your life that is going to adore you, love you, have fun with you. Without a doubt, you just know you're going to wake up in the morning and your friend is going to be with you. You're going to go to bed at night and know that your best friend is going to be with you every day. You're always going to have that friend, that person that's going to have fun with you and love you no matter what. And that's how I feel. I go to bed every night and I know I'm loved. I wake up every morning and I know I am loved by this man.
And it's apparent with everything.
Without a doubt.
Without a doubt. When he did come home, he didn't speak to me at all, which was the reason I took a hammer to the door. I had communicated to him.
No. That's not the reason you took a hammer. There is no reason to take a hammer to the door.
He locked
the fact that he comes home and doesn't say anything is not a reason to take a hammer to the door.
No, it was because he locked the door to keep me out so I wouldn't have a conversation with him, which I became very frustrated.
Okay, I need to say 2 things. You said he came home and didn't say anything, and that's why I took a hammer to the door.
Well,
he locked the door.
I'm sorry.
That's why I took a hammer to the door. No, you took a hammer to the door because you chose to take a hammer to the door.
Yes, I did.
There is no rational reason.
I did. I chose to.
There's no rational reason to take a hammer to the door. Like I said, we've been together 50 years. Have you ever hammered a door that I feel on the other side
No, never.
For God's sakes. Look, we're going to talk about how Peggy and Steve can move forward with their lives, regardless of whether or not they stay in this marriage next. Up on Dr. Phil, visit our website and subscribe to our newsletter. You'll get weekly updates, life strategies, and exclusive video that you won't find anywhere else. Plus, on drphil.com, you can see sneak previews of upcoming shows. Log on today. Forget about the fact that you're married right now and roll things back. If you want to get a divorce, you got plenty of time to get a divorce. Right now, you need to work on a friendship. Do something that friends do, right?
Yes, because, and I'll just make it simple. We have fun together because we really accept nothing less than that. We made a decision almost 50 years ago that when we get married, and in fact, I said this to Philip, if we're gonna do this, we're gonna have fun doing it. If we get married, and we're going to get married, and we're gonna spend the rest of our life together, and we're gonna have fun doing it.
That's just the way it was said. She said, if we get married, and we are.
Yes. We're gonna have fun doing it. That's it, bottom line.
Yes, ma'am.
and that was our mindset in our minds and our hearts. And we've accepted nothing less than that because I don't want anything less than that. I don't want an unhappy life. I love him. He loves me. We want to be happy. And we choose that every day. It's that simple. And we choose to do the things we want to do to have fun.
But it takes two.
And it takes two.
But it starts with you. The only person you control is you. So you have to start with you and say, look, I'm not settling for anything less than being treated with dignity and respect, and I want to have a good friend. And you have to decide you deserve that, as do you. So start there. Build a friendship. And if you start to feel some warmth and affection for one another, then take it to the next level. Then take it to the next level. Then build on that. But you've got to start with the basics. You two never built a friendship.
Bugatti riding slow tonight, 'cause I'm loving every moment under city lights. Bugatti riding slow tonight, 'cause I'm loving every moment under city lights.
And that is true. We've never given each other that opportunity.
So give it that shot. Fair enough? Fair enough?
Yes, sir.
And stop beating on each other and stop degrading each other. If you want to vent, go out in the field and bark at the moon. Don't bark at each other. All right, we're out of time today. I want to thank all of my guests. I'm so glad that you finally got the letter through and got here. A special thanks to the founder of When Georgia Smiled and the creator of the Aspire Initiative and the Aspire app, my wife, Robin McGraw. For more information about today's episode, log on to drphil.com. Don't forget to follow and subscribe to my podcast, Fill in the Blanks, where I provide